This is Julie D., and you're listening to the Nordonia We Need to Talk podcast network, brought to you by NordoniaHills.news, recorded in the Gary Miller studio. Cleveland Sports Podcast starts now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Cleveland Sports Show today with me, Darius. Today we have a lot to talk about, especially in the soccer world. I want to get you guys informed on. But first and foremost, we are going to start with Cavaliers basketball. And what a time to be a fan of the Cavaliers, especially after their performance last night against the Philadelphia 76ers. But first, we're going to analyze their week starting at the beginning, where they lost by 11 points in Detroit to the Pistons. The Cavs were outscored by 9 in the second quarter, and then by 11 in the first quarter. And really just, it was a blowout from the start for Detroit. No one on the Cavs really could get it going. The highest scorer on the Cavs was Colin Sexton that night with 18 points, 4 assists, and 1 rebound, and he was able to do that all in 24 minutes. But then on the Pistons side, Blake Griffin dropped in 21 points in 37 minutes, and then Andre Drummond, who was a beast on the board that night, put in 39 minutes, and in those 39 minutes, he was able to put in 16 rebounds, 3 assists, and 23 points. And then looking into the game that I went to, which, by the way, I did not hear one single boo for LeBron. It was actually, I was extremely impressed with all the Cleveland fans. There were people who in fact, were yelling for LeBron to come back and that they missed LeBron, which I was predicting before I went to the game. Specifically speaking of the game itself, the Cavs surprisingly put up a great fight in this game, and I have an article on NordoniaHills.news about my experience of the game. So if you're interested in learning about and listening to what I have and reading about what I have to say, then check out the article on NordoniaHills.news. It should be up shortly. But specifically speaking of the game itself, the Lakers defeated the Cavs 109-105 in Cleveland on Wednesday, the eve before Thanksgiving, and LeBron James put in 32 points in 36 minutes. Brandon Ingram had 14, Lonzo Ball had 15, and Kyle Kuzma had 12. So it was a great night for the young guns of the Lakers to get those quality minutes and to make contributions to the team. And Kentavious Caldwell put in 13 points with 5 rebounds in 25 minutes. So if I'm the Lakers, especially looking off that win last night against Utah by 7, things are definitely steering in the right direction now after their shaky start to the season. So I am for sure predicting the Lakers to make even bigger strides as the season progresses. And LeBron actually more so this past Sunday when he made his return not to Cleveland but to Miami, where he used to play for the Heat. He actually put in that surprising 51-point performance, which I honestly did not expect at all. He was 19 for 31 from the field. He had 6 3-pointers, including a last-second 3-pointer with about 13 seconds left in the game to get him over 50 points. And then he had 3 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block. So it wasn't the performance he had on Wednesday night in his homecoming to Cleveland, but his homecoming in Miami was definitely a special performance to behold. And what I really want to talk about now, we're going to go back to the Cavaliers, and they were able to snatch their first road win of the season, giving them a 3-14 record. They defeated the 76ers in Philadelphia last night by a score of 121-112. And what was even more impressive of this Cavalier road win is that it was actually the first loss at home for the Philadelphia 76ers. Prior to last night's matchup, they were a perfect 10-0 at home. So given the fact that the Cavaliers stopped or at least halted for the moment the best home record in the NBA, it really says something about what this team can produce when they really get it going. On the Cavs side, Chetty Osman did extremely well last night. He played 42 minutes. He had 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. And then Rodney Hood really got it going, especially in that fourth quarter. With 39 minutes, he put up 25 points. Jordan Clarkson was once again special. I keep talking about how he's really been progressing and how he really has been contributing in a positive manner for the Cavs. He had 19 points in just 20 minutes. And then Colin Sexton, once again, is showing that he can also progress as a rookie. And he put in 23 points in 32 minutes. On the Sixers side, no one really had a standout game. Jimmy Butler had 22 points, but they were very pedestrian and quiet 22 points. J.J. Redick played well. He had 23 points in 27 minutes. And Joel Embiid underperformed a little bit, but we can't be perfect all the time. He had 24 points in 33 minutes. Now, as some of you know on the show, I like to do a segment in which I talk about the two Cavs players who've really stood out this past week. And once again, Jordan Clarkson is on my list as one of the two. Last night in Philadelphia, I already talked about. He was 2 for 5 from three-point range, and he really hit the threes when it counted the most. And he was 8 for 15 from the field, 19 points. And then he was on fire against Los Angeles this past Wednesday, the game in which I attended. He was only 6 of 18 from the field, but he had 4 three-pointers, 5 assists, and he had 20 points in 26 minutes. And he really propelled a Cavs run in which the Lakers were able to seize control of and basically take over the games themselves. And the other Cavs player who I've really been keeping my eye on and who I've been interested to see, and he's actually been playing extremely well, is Andrew Harrison. Now, I know that some of you may be thinking this is ridiculous. Why are you giving this to Andrew Harrison? Well, some of you could say, yes, he only had 7 points against Detroit. He had 6 points against the Lakers, and he only had 5 points against the 76ers. But given the fact that he brought so much energy when Colin Sexton would have to go on the bench, Andrew Harrison really came in and stepped up and put in a lot of energy and really executed his offense when it counted the most, especially last night in Philadelphia. Last night in Philadelphia, he was only 2 for 2 from the field, but he only attempted 1 3, and he made that 3. And then he had 5 assists, so he was dishing out the ball a lot as a point guard, and then he had 1 rebound. And what Andrew Harrison did last night was really more of those hustle stats, almost like something like Marcus Smart of the Celtics does. It's not really it's not recorded on paper, but in the end, it makes a huge difference in the outcomes of basketball games, and that's why I think Andrew Harrison deserves a lot of credit for the win last night for the Cavs. And upcoming for the Cavs, they face James Harden and the improving Houston Rockets tonight. Last year, when the Rockets came to Cleveland, they obliterated them by 32 points. So the Cavaliers really have their hands full tonight. And then their next game will also be at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Cavs will be looking for revenge against Minnesota after their second game of the season in Minneapolis, where the Timberwolves would prevail. And then the next 2 away games for the Cavaliers will be this upcoming Wednesday and Friday, where they really have their hands full again. They will travel to OKC, Oklahoma City, this upcoming Wednesday to face the Thunder. And then we'll head to TD Garden in Boston with a reunion with the Celtics, the Eastern Conference Finals matchup of last year. Let's see. And speaking of basketball, we're going to head to the other side of the country. We're going to head to Oakland, California for a second here, where the Warriors lost 4 straight prior to last night's matchup against the Portland Trail Blazers. They defeated the Trail Blazers last night by a score of 97 to 125. But like I said, prior to that, they were just getting obliterated by teams, and they were honestly getting embarrassed. after that Draymond Green and Kevin Durant incident. They like I discussed how they lost by 21 to the Rockets on November 15th. And then they lost to the other two teams of Texas. They lost to the Mavericks by 3 on Saturday the 17th, and then the following Sunday the 18th, they lost by 12 to the San Antonio Spurs, who really don't have where not a people are giving them a huge chance to make any progress in the playoffs. But the way DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge have been teaming up, I certainly feel that they can really make some noise, especially come playoff time. Then this past Wednesday, the Thunder came to Oakland and just embarrassed the Warriors, especially in the fourth quarter. And they eventually prevailed 123-95, and that's why I say that the Cavaliers have a lot of in their hands when they travel to OKC to take on the Thunder, because with a healthy Russell Westbrook and Paul George, and as well as their bench being able to contribute the way they did against this Golden State team, it's going to be an extremely difficult task for the Cavaliers. Now, yes, we can say back to the Warriors that they don't have Stephen Curry, and Stephen Curry is going to help mediate what's been going on. But still, given the fact that you have another all-time great shooter in Klay Thompson, with the passing vision of Draymond Green and just the scoring of Kevin Durant, I expected their game against the Thunder to be a little bit more competitive. I expected them to defeat the Spurs and for sure the Mavericks. So I was extremely disappointed in that the defending champs really did not prove themselves why they were the back-to-back defending champions. But then they were able to regain some confidence in their fans last night, where they obliterated the Trailblazers, especially in the second half. Some of the notable upcoming games for the Warriors. This upcoming Thursday, actually, they'll head to Toronto to face the Raptors. And then Wednesday, December 5th, they'll actually come over to Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers. So a lot of games that the Warriors are going to, some easy games, some hard games, a little bit of a mixed schedule for the Warriors here in this upcoming month of December. So that concludes our basketball portion of the show for this afternoon. If you have any questions or comments, please, of course, let me know at Nordonia Sports, Darius Sethna on Twitter. Now, let's get into soccer. I said we have a lot of to discuss in the soccer portion of today's show, and we're going to get started with the MLS. And in the MLS, tomorrow is really the big day. The conference finals will begin, and the first leg specifically will begin at Sunday, or tomorrow, at 5 p.m. Atlanta United will take on the New York Red Bulls, and Portland will take on Sporting Kansas City. And then this upcoming Thursday, November 29th, the conferences will shift venues for the second leg. New York Red Bulls will again be taking on Atlanta United, and then Sporting Kansas City will be taking on Portland. Now, the way the legs work, if there's soccer fans, maybe some of you who aren't soccer fans may not know this, but the way legs work is that the first leg begins tomorrow. So whoever wins that game specifically, basically, there's something called aggregate, and they lead that specific aggregate. So, for example, let's say Atlanta United defeats New York tomorrow by a score of 2-0. In this case, the aggregate score is going to be 2-0 in favor of Atlanta. And then in the second leg, the New York Red Bulls would have to score 2 goals in order to tie the aggregate score. It is a little confusing, but you'll hear, if you watch the games, the commentators talk about it a lot more in depth. For those of you who know what a penalty shootout is, if the game is tied after 120 minutes of play, then the teams will begin a penalty shootout. Now, if for example, if Atlanta and New York tie 1-1 tomorrow, then whoever wins the second leg, whether it's in 90 minutes, 120 minutes, or if it's in penalty shootouts, whoever wins that second leg, that crucial second leg, will move on to the MLS Cup final. Now, the MLS Cup final does not work with the aggregate scoring, but all of the series leading up to the final of the MLS do have aggregate scoring. So we will see what tomorrow brings. I really am looking forward for the two matches for tomorrow, given the fact that all of these teams, these four teams, were the top four teams in their conferences. I think the competition on the field will be fierce, and I really think that we are in the makings of an awesome final for December 8th. And I wanted to go over to England real quick. I'm going to give you guys a quick update on Premier League soccer. Manchester City holds the top spot with 32 points. They have 10 wins, 2 draws, and 0 losses. Liverpool is in second place with 9 wins, 3 draws, and 0 losses. And then Chelsea is in third place with 8 wins, 4 draws, and 0 losses. And then Tottenham Hotspur, for your information, has 3 losses. So that gives them the lower point differential. So another big week of Premier League action coming your way. I'll give you guys another update next weekend. But Manchester City, Liverpool, and Chelsea are definitely two iconic Premier League teams. So for me, it really is not a huge surprise that the top dogs of the Premier League are basically in their respective positions. And I know I talk about the MLS and Premier League a lot, but I wanted to introduce you guys to another soccer league which gets as much attention, if maybe not a little more attention than the Premier League, and that is La Liga. La Liga is the soccer league in the country of Spain. For those of you who know Lionel Messi, he plays in this specific league, specifically for Barcelona. Cristiano Ronaldo used to play in this league, however, he does not. He plays in the Serie A league, which is in Italy. But without further ado, we're going to discuss La Liga in this specific show, and I'm going to give you guys, update you guys with the standings. Barcelona is in first place. That is the team that Lionel Messi plays for, and they have had a reputation of great success, especially these last few years with Lionel Messi. But yeah, Barcelona is in the first place with 7 wins, 3 draws, and 2 losses with 24 points. And then Sevilla is in second place with 7 wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses to equate to 23 points. And Atletico Madrid is in third place with 23 points, giving them 6 wins, 5 draws, and 1 loss. Now, Real Madrid was the team that Cristiano Ronaldo used to play for before he moved on to Juventus. But Real Madrid, it seems that they are slugging a bit without Ronaldo. They are in 6th place in the standings of La Liga so far, and they have 6 wins, 2 draws, and 4 losses, combining a total for 20 points. So with the soccer standing update for next week, I'm going to introduce you guys maybe to a couple more leagues, given the fact that the MLS season is winding down here, but still a lot of anticipation for that. But what I want to move on to now is the NFL and the Cleveland Browns specifically. The Browns will kick off a 2-game road trip, first to Cincinnati, where they will take on the Bengals. The Browns are in last place of that division, which is also 4th place. The Bengals have lost 2 games in a row, with the Browns, of course, winning that one game, their last previous game against the Atlanta Falcons. Will look to carry that momentum into Cincinnati. The Bengals have not lost on their home field yet, so it's going to be extremely difficult for the Browns to carry the momentum into Cincinnati. And then after that Sunday matchup, the following Sunday they head to Houston to take on the Texans, who are in first place in the AFC South. And after losing their first 3 games of the season, the Texans, they have won 7 in a row. The Browns will definitely, for these next 2 home games, have their hands full. The Bengals have lost 2 games on their home field, and the Browns, this might give the Browns an advantage to claim the away win this upcoming Sunday. And that is all I have today for the Cleveland Sports Show. Next week, we're going to give another Cavs and NBA update. Brady will be back with us. And I will also update you guys with all of the awesome soccer stats and other matchups that will keep you guys interested. If you have not, please follow me on Twitter at Nordonia Sports, Darius Sethna. We have about 20 followers now, so thank you guys for all of your awesome support. If you haven't followed me yet, make sure you check out my Twitter page and also some of the other awesome work I've done. Not to mention the awesome work of others. If you go to NordoniaHills.news, make sure you look at DJ Resch and Wilson Riley's, and also other amazing students and their awesome work as well. That concludes our show for this weekend. Have a terrific week, and I'll see you guys with Brady next Saturday.